All right, so we are now getting towards rush hour, and I want to record my drive to the gym. As you can see on the map, it's super straightforward. It's 2 left turns, and we're there. But FSD 14.1.3 did a great job parking itself on my detached garage and finding my driveway, which I thought it wasn't going to do. I thought it was going to maybe mistake my driveway for the alley or vice versa, but it did not, which is awesome to see. So yeah, without yapping further here, let's go for a quick drive to the gym, and then I will be doing some testing on the return route. We won't be going straight back the same way. We're going to be testing some problem areas that have caused us issues with version 13 on the way back. All right, so obviously blurred that out for obvious reason, but I entered my PIN to drive, and now we're backing up. And again, FSD does not hesitate to start going. We have a truck behind us here. Let's see what it does. Does a great job just inching out, and then once it goes, it clears the path and keeps going when reversed. Excellent behavior there. With version 13, that would have required probably numerous throttle inputs from me. So, and I didn't touch the pedal once this time. So that's the night and day difference you see with FSD start from park in version 14 compared to version 13. Got a bit of an occlusion on our right there, but again, once FSD starts rolling, it just continues to inch forward, not jam on the brakes. That was pretty consistent behavior we saw with version 13, so no big differences there so far in version 14, but just more of the same, which is good. All right, so this is left turn number 1 of 2 so far. This is on St. Clair Avenue, I think. Yep. And we have quite a bit of traffic as you come in from our right, including a new Model Y here. There's so many of them around the Twin Cities now. It's really awesome to see. So we'll slot in behind him. Looks like he needs some help with his license plate holder, though. I'd love to reinstall that. It's going to drive me nuts following this. You can kind of see it's not perfectly lined up, but I'm just nitpicking there. Good throttle control there as we approach that stop sign, waiting for that Model Y in front of us to proceed. It wasn't jerky at all. So, again, nothing we haven't seen so far with version 13 on this trip. It's very similar behavior, which was already honestly pretty darn good. So, if anything, the regen usage coming up to stop signs, again, I've mentioned this on other videos, but it's definitely something that's improved greatly with version 14. Interesting there how the car kind of moved to the right. I'm not sure why. I'm just guessing it was doing a follow the leader there because the guy in front of me did the same thing. But I don't see a reason why it had to move to the right there. I mean, it's fine. It's drivable space, so fine with that maneuver, but just kind of wondering why it decided to do that. That was kind of interesting. One thing I would like to see with a future version 14 build is maybe avoiding some of the manhole covers, as we're now getting to the point now where we're just kind of nitpicking. The manhole covers are usually pretty deep in the Twin Cities because we get a lot of snow typically, and they want those clear of the snow plows when they come over the road, so there's usually like an inch or two difference in the road pavement with the gap there to the manhole cover. So avoiding those would make for a smoother ride. The Model S suspension does a good job of eating up those, but sometimes it'd be nice just to avoid them altogether in a future build. That would be awesome. I would see FSD version 13 sometimes overly hesitate at the intersection just because there's a lot going on, and sometimes people aren't signaling or whatever, or exhibiting indications they might be taking a different path than how they've indicated or whatever, right? Version 14 didn't hesitate at all back there, so but keep an eye. I do this trip 5 times a week, so sometimes 6. So if I notice any differences in that behavior, I'll let you know. But so far, it looks like version 14 is a bit more confident with stoplights like that, or I'm sorry, stop sign intersections, especially when there's other traffic present or they arrive at that intersection around a similar time frame. Version 13 seemed to just default to let the other people go first, and sometimes you get people that are trying to wave you by, and it looks like 14 is a little bit more confident in proceeding. And while we're driving down the road here, I'm going to allow it to park on the curbside here because there is street parking right in front of the gym that I usually use on the right once we make our left turn to West 7th. So we're getting here a little early today, so there should be some parking. Sometimes there's not. So I'm almost hoping there's not available parking because then I want to see what it's going to do. All right, a little hesitation there. I think it saw that car. I see why it hesitated. That guy didn't stop at the stop line for that stop sign. He just kind of cruised up like he was going to keep going. So, not going to knock the car there. If it would have pumped once or twice more, I would have complained. But I think that's fair, considering where that guy was, where he ended up stopping. And then this is our last left turn here. Only 2 on this route. This is the busier intersection here. So looks like we're going to get a red light too, which is awesome. So we have cars coming at us. The intersection's laid out at kind of an angle, so it can be very tricky. There's not a lot of room to go out and wait, and then the cars coming at us, as they're waiting to turn, the cars behind them, if they're going straight, will go around them. And we can't really see them till the last second, as you can see. So this just ends up being one of those intersections that can be super tricky, especially during rush hour. So version 13, for the most part, always did the right thing here. Before that, it was rarely FSD would succeed here. This was an often point of pain or contention for FSD usage around here. I'd always have to disengage, usually with like version 12, or it just couldn't react fast enough. But version 13 was the first one that could start handling it on a consistent basis. So hopefully we see more of the same here with version 14. Okay, so we're going to get out here and pose just a little bit. We're not sticking too far out. I think it's reasonable. All right, we're going to get a window here and we got to go for it. Great job. No jerkiness with throttle or brake inputs there, so that's great. All right, and it looks like the gym is really busy already, so we might not have a parking spot here. There's one on the edge. Let's see if we use it. Oh, we're going to skip past that. And there's one. All right, we're pulling in. Got really close here. I'm not sure I'm thrilled about this park job. Yeah, so that's not a great park job, so I'm going to actually fix that one and do it manually. So I would have liked to see it parallel park even on the first one, but it just definitely did not do that. So, and my GoPro wanted to cut out right before we parked, so I'm glad I hit record again. But yeah, that was not a great park job. So That was probably the first one where I'm like, I don't know what you were thinking there. But if we were just getting out robotaxi style, that would have been okay. But we needed to parallel park there. So anyways, overall, another pretty boring drive with FSD 14, and that's a good thing. We'll be doing some more rush hour testing here after my workout. So I'll see you back here in a sec. All right, we're back for another drive with FSD 14.1.3. We're going to do a quick turnaround here, so I have to kind of fake the navigation out as I want to traverse a intersection that we've had trouble with in the past. So I'm going to get going here, enter my pin in, and immediately with 14.1.3 it just goes. It doesn't mess around, which is awesome. So version 13, it would do the opposite of that. It would just sit there, and usually you'd require a throttle press even if you were not, even if there was no traffic around. So once we make this left turn here, I'm going to change the navigation one more time. We've got really poor visibility because this car is parked right in, and it could see that there was a car there. I don't know if you can see in the navigation, but it did pick it up. So it saw through that garbage can there. You could just barely see it. That was pretty cool. Alright, and now I'm going to change the address here. Make sure it's going the right way. And we got to go this way now. Alright. We got some cars coming here. We probably had a window to go there, but, you know, waiting a little bit longer, it's not too bad. We're going to get a window here to go. And this entire street's confusing like this because of the way the intersections are laid out. Good job avoiding that car with the door open there too. That was pretty cool. I don't know if you guys caught that, but it was just a slight wheel movement there to make sure we gave him enough space. Again, another right turn around a curb, and the car did not do the signature Model S shimmy that it used to do in version 13. So I've done about, I don't know, probably 10 right turns now, maybe more, and I've not seen that behavior return. So glad to see that is finally fixed in FSD 14. We got a tight squeeze here, just a little hesitation, but we got around, no problem there. Alright, so what's interesting coming up here is we're going to see how FSD handles the Minnesota style on-ramps here. So in the Twin Cities, we have, during rush hour, or when the meter ramps are on, the lights are on, you are supposed to form two lines as you queue up. However, the road is not painted in two lanes. So it's kind of confusing. I don't know anywhere else in the country that has on-ramps like this. So it's a typical Minnesota thing where we like to make things complicated for no apparent reason. As of version 13, the car started handling these better if there were lead cars. So we'll see how it does with version 14 here. This will be my first on-ramp with this build. Okay, so there is lead traffic. We should be picking the left lane because there's a shorter line. Good job there. And you can kind of see here, we're forming two lines, and there's a sign a little ways back that says form two lines when the ramp meters are active. So it's one of those things, some of them have a light back there when you get on the on-ramp that indicates the lights ahead are on, but this one just has that sign. So then, again, we'll have two sets of lights up here. One on the left, one on the right. Obviously, those two lights on the left are paired for our lane, and the ones on the right are for the cars to the right of us. So, version 13 usually got this right, if it got this far. But we'll have to see how 14 does here. Okay, car didn't budge as it shouldn't have there. Good job. And now we're just waiting for our green light here. Alright, it's green. And the car didn't hesitate at all, and it confidently went as it should have. So it's very possible that version 14 will show some big improvements with the on-ramps here in Minneapolis and St. Paul. I really hope so. That was kind of the last place I would disengage FSD. So we're gonna throw in my home address here, and this time we're gonna pick we're gonna park on the street this time. Oops, not sure why I picked that one. So we'll take a slightly different way back home here. Somebody mentioned this earlier, and I just realized this now. You can actually change the speed profiles with the scroll wheel just by going up and down versus going left and right. Because that used to control the speed, but now the speed offset is kind of automatically applied by FSD, so looks like they just bound that functionality to the scrolling function as well as the tilt function as well. So whoever commented that in my previous post, thanks for the heads up on that. I didn't even notice that. Not sure what I think about that. I think they'll have to pick one or the other. I've gotten used to just doing the tilt, so I hope they at least keep that one around for now, but I'm sure both are kind of invalidated by the fact that you can just go up here now on the UI and just tap on the screen. So multiple options I guess we have now. So I think this is gotta be like my 15th or so Model Y I've seen, the new Model Ys. They're just everywhere in the Twin Cities. I've commented before on that, but I've seen so many around today. Tesla sales is definitely doing pretty well here in the Twin Cities. Alright, so we're gonna hit Rondo Avenue up here, and then we're gonna make a left turn onto 94 West. Somebody looks to be practicing their parallel parking over there. It'd be kind of funny if we had FSD go over there and just nail it on the first shot. That'd be kind of funny. Maybe tomorrow. Merging seems to be a bit better in version 14 here. I think part of it is just the car is more willing to get more throttle sooner, and that improves the merging performance, especially as we're entering like a higher speed freeway like this. So I'll definitely take it Alright, and this is our exit here for Cretan Avenue. Pretty routine stop for our drive for FSD here. Not too much left going ahead here. We'll have a few left turns and we'll be pretty much to our destination. The lane lines are painted pretty poorly around here, as well as the lane indication markings, and like if it's a turn lane or not, and the car didn't do it or didn't fall into that trap of not being able to read them and kind of hesitate. It just confidently knew this was already a proper lane and carried on with its path planning. So great to see. Version 13 I think handled that section well, but I had seen in other areas in similar circumstances where version 13 faltered, so no such thing with version 14 as of yet. That was pretty cool. So as soon as that car threw its turn signal on, version 14 moved over to the right. It didn't hesitate a second, just like a good human driver would. So it definitely read that turn signal on the car ahead of us there. So version 13 would have definitely slowed down and waited for that car to complete its turn. So that is pretty neat. Alright, we're just kind of slowing down here for some lead cars turning here. We could have gotten over to the right there. It was clear, but it was a brief slowdown, so not the end of the world. Here's another example of FSD having to react to that light quickly here, and it didn't hit the mechanical brakes until it anticipated this car to the right kind of creeping over. I don't know if you can see this here, but the car did apply a little mechanical brake once it detected that, but up until that, had that car not done that, it would have used regen braking all the way to 0, even though it was a pretty late brake initiation there. So again, comfort seems to be a big priority with how they've trained version 14. in the past, version 13 would have definitely used a lot of mechanical brake just to slow down for that red light. I will say version 14 is definitely more sensitive to people coming into our lane potentially, even if they don't, right? It definitely seems a bit more reactive, which I'm fine with because it anticipated that lane closure and gave them some room. So that was actually really neat. So some people might think that's annoying, but I think that's a good, you know, step in terms of driving more like a good human driver. All right, we may have a window here to make our left turn. Let's see what happens. That's going for it. Very cool. Awesome. It looks to be a branch or something in the middle of the road here. Let's see if it shows up on the UI. It definitely is going around it there, so it did see it. It didn't show it on the user interface, but it definitely reacted to it, so that was pretty cool. Alright, and I'm going to take over here because I am going to park in my garage. But anyways, another uneventful drive for version 14. So I've been driving now for almost 3 hours since I got the update last night and have had 0 disengagement so far. Pretty darn impressive. So anyways, thanks for watching and I'll see you on the next one.